Hi, I'm Dr. Scout, and I'm with LGBT Health Link, and we are bringing you your weekly roundup of all the top LGBT health and wellness news for the week of February 27th. First of all, I'd like to remind everybody, please use sunscreen. And let's get to it for the top news this week. In our first story, a new study found that bisexuals are more accepted, have fewer identity challenges, and are less likely to see sexual orientation as important to their identity than the rest of the LGBT population. That said, we know many studies actually show bisexuals have profound health disparities, so clearly sexual orientation does matter to their health. Next up, we're continuing to see our LGBT healthcare Bill of Rights spread across our communities. Equality Florida recently hosted a web forum about the HBOR and open enrollment, where over 1,000 people showed up to hear more about each. This week, we see Fort Lauderdale's paper Sun Sentinel carry a story about HBR protections as well. Good, keep spreading that information far and wide. In a first-of-its-kind analysis, CDC released a video this week showing that 90% of new HIV infections resulted from HIV-positive people who were not in care. This gives rise to serious questions about how many new infections we could prevent if we were able to get more people into care. On the same topic, GLAAD launched a challenge to Hollywood to show more HIV-positive characters, so hopefully we'll be seeing more of that in the future. Next story this week, the Labor Department extended Family Medical Leave Act coverage to the celebration policy for same-sex couples. This means that same-sex couples can access FMLA benefits even if they've moved to a state that now doesn't recognize their marriage. In a second policy win, we're happy to see that HUD also issued new rules for homeless shelters that allow a trans person to shelter with their preferred gender regardless of their level of documentation. Yes, sir, policies really can help change our world. Our next story, a new report found the quality of life was higher for LGBT residents in states that had LGBT protections versus those that did not, with LGBT parents facing the biggest disparity. Meanwhile, European advocates have released a new video decrying quality of life nightmares for trans people, and a blogger in the U.S. calls for a new institute for LGBT resiliency. Our next story, the Washington Post has a thoughtful piece this week about social contagion and trans teen suicides. It's a useful thing to keep in mind as we all share information or choose not to share information on our social media feeds. Speaking of social media, a new campaign sends important health messages about LGBT elders via sexy social media ads. So why not share one on your feed today? That is it. That is all of the news and information for LGBT health for the week of February 27th, 2015. Be sure and subscribe to this channel for more weekly updates, as well to follow us on Twitter and Facebook at LGBT Health Link. Thank you very much. I'm Scout. Thank you also to our researcher, Susanna Fajardo, and we shall see you next week, same time, same place.